ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. So welcome to our Saturday morning session. We will continue on chapter 4. Very fascinating chapter once again. We started that Krishna for the first time actually revealed his avatar, and then he continued to explain how a avatar behaves. And in the last few verses, he explained that how he is not impacted by the karma he does, by the activities he performs, including the four varnas which he has created in the world. They do not impact on him. He is not a karta and therefore he is not a bhokta. कर्ता और भोक्ता का जो संबंध है वो परमात्मा के अवतार में नहीं है. This is what he explained in the last few verses. Now today we will take verse number 16 onwards. These are very fascinating verses and they have very close link with chapter 3 where we talked about Karma Yoga. So let us understand them. These are very profound verses and therefore we will have to understand them in very, very serious sense. Now, verse number 16. कर्म क्या है और अकर्म क्या है, इस प्रकार इसका निर्णय करने में बुद्धिमान पुरुष भी मोहित हो जाते हैं. इसलिए वह कर्म तत्व मैं तुझे भली भांति समझाकर कहूंगा, जिसे जानकर तू अशुभ से अर्थात कर्म बंधन से मुक्त हो जाएगा. कर्म क्या है और अकर्म क्या है, ये एक बहुत गूढ़ प्रश्न है. मैं भी इसके ऊपर काफी विचार करता रहता हूं कि ये कर्म है, ये जैसे कई बार लगता है कि ये प्रोविडेंस है, पुराने कर्मों का फल है. कई बार ये लगता है कि ये कर्म है, कई बार लगता है कि ये अकर्म है. तो दिस इज a very complicated situation and not very easy to understand. Even Lord Krishna is saying that even the wise people are deluded. They stay in delusion because they are not able to understand the real distinction that what is karma and what is akarma. We discussed this briefly in chapter 3, but we will go over in little more detail here. Now, before we go on to further verses, we have to understand our own actions, own karma. If you realize in life, most of the karma we do, we are provoked by something else. These are actually pratikriya rather than kriya or karma. For example, your child demands certain things from you, and then you are provoked to work hard, earn more money, and buy certain things for your child. He wants to go to a better school. Then you are provoked to search for better school. You are provoked to pay higher fees, earn enough to pay for that, and then you are doing that karma. Similarly, for example, your wife or your husband provokes you that we need a bigger house, we need more jewelry, we need better clothing. Now you are provoked by those demands, by those requirements or demands, whatever you call them. And then you are acting. So actually it is more like a pratikriya. Every single action we do in life, you will realize most of them are like pratikriya. Not all, but most of them. Whether they are provoked by your neighbor, by your parents, by your spouse, by your children, by your boss in the office, they are provoked and they are pushing you towards a particular direction of action. So that is how the life moves most of the time. Then some of the actions are driven by our own desires. Okay, I want to go and travel in this part of the world. Now you have to do many activities for that. Firstly, you have to earn more, so you have to work harder. Then once you have earned enough, you have to make your passport, you have to arrange your visa, you have to arrange your medical, you have to arrange so many other things. So you are doing a lot of activities, a lot of actions, because most of the time you are provoked, and in some cases you are provoked by your own desires. So this is what is happening in life. Now Krishna will explain what it is in the verse number 18. But before we go there, we should understand the difference. What is karma? So this is what is karma we understand most of the time. This is what we understand by karma. If you are taking your children for a walk, that is what you are doing. You are taking them because they wanted you to go with them for a walk. And they want to go to a film, you are taking them to a film, that's also an action provoked by them. Your wife wants you to buy, better clothes for her, you are going for shopping, that's an action provoked by your wife. She wants more jewelry, so you are provoked by that demand and you are taking action. So you would realize that almost 99% of the karma are provoked by two things: provoked by others or provoked by your own desires. That is how we operate in life. And that is what we understand by karma. And akarma, what do we understand by akarma? Normally we understand by akarma that, keep quiet, don't take any action, don't do anything. Relax, sit down, sleep. Now that is what we understand by akarma. If somebody calls you, don't take the call, leave it, akarma. Then somebody tells you, let's go, and play some sport. No, I want to relax, I'm akarma. Now that akarma is primarily coming out of your laziness, akarmanyata. It's not really akarma, it is coming out of your laziness. So this is the general meaning of karma and akarma we understand in life. If you think it deep, you will find that what I'm saying is right. And then Krishna will say that this is not the right way, because even the wise people do not understand the meaning of karma and akarma. So let us move to the next, because then he also says that if you can understand this meaning, तो आप कर्मों के बंधन से मुक्त हो जाते हैं. You are able to मोक्षे सुभात, आपको मोक्ष प्राप्त हो जाता है. मतलब कर्म और अकर्म का अगर आप भेद प्रॉपरली समझ लेते हैं तो भी आपको मोक्ष प्राप्त हो जाता है. यहां तक कृष्ण ने इस श्लोक में कह दिया है. तो हमें उसको समझना चाहिए. वी मस्ट अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट इज कर्म एंड व्हाट इज अकर्म प्रॉपरली. नाउ नेक्स्ट वर्स सेज, कर्म का स्वरूप भी जानना चाहिए और अकर्म का स्वरूप भी जानना चाहिए और विकर्म का स्वरूप भी जानना चाहिए, क्योंकि कर्म की गति गहन है. कर्म की गति गहन है. दिस इज ए वेरी गहना कर्मणो गति. गहना कर्मणो गति. दिस इज ए वेरी प्रोफाउंड ऑब्जर्वेशन एंड वी शुड नॉट टेक इट लाइटली, क्योंकि उसकी गति इतनी गहन है कि लर्नड पीपुल ऑल्सो गेट डिल्यूडेड इन द प्रोसेस. नाउ कर्म का स्वरूप. स्वरूप का मतलब क्या है? व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ स्वरूप? स्वरूप का मतलब जो आप एक्टिविटी करते हैं वो स्वरूप के रूप में आपको दिखाई देती है. जैसे आपने एक जॉब छोड़ के दूसरा जॉब लिया. नाउ दैट इज द एक्टिविटी दैट इज स्वरूप that has taken a form. The action has taken a form that you have changed from one job to another job. For example, you construct a new house. Now that new house is a swarup of your actions. It is the what you call manifestation of the actions you are undertaking. So swarup means the manifestation. the form it takes after you have acted. You are organizing a conference. Now the thinking comes in your mind to organize. Now it takes a form. You have a venue, you have posters, you have invited speakers, and you have a topic, you debate. Now that has taken a form. That is swaroop, that is a manifestation. So उसका स्वरूप भी जानना चाहिए. That is what Krishna is saying. और अकर्म का स्वरूप भी जानना चाहिए. अकर्म का स्वरूप कैसे होता है? अकर्म का स्वरूप, as I mentioned, oh, I want to relax. I am just sitting here. I don't want to go anywhere. हम ये समझते हैं that is अकर्म, and that is the स्वरूप. Oh, I am just lying down. I don't want to do anything today. That is also अकर्म का स्वरूप. That is how we take it. That is how we understand. And this is what we need to understand. What is the form of karma? What is the form of akarma? What is the manifestation of karma? And what is the, manifestation of akarma? So this is what we have to understand. And now he comes to verse number 18, which is actually very deep. But before we go into that verse, I would like to mention a few things. One is that the karma originates, as I mentioned, partly by provoked from others, partly by our own desires, and then it takes a form of thinking inside. It is coming either from bhav or coming from thought, and then it takes a form inside your mind first, and then you translate it to action. So then it takes a manifestation. So this is how the karma, 4 parts. You are provoked by others. किसी ने आपको गाली दी. Now you are also angry and you start fighting with him or you abuse him. Now that is karma provoked by somebody else. Somebody praised you, your ego goes up and you start smiling, laughing, and feeling inside, bloated. Now that is another, action which happens, which has been provoked by others. So provocation by others. Then you could be coming out of your own desires. And then it takes either, firstly, it takes bhav in the form of bhav or in the form of thought process. And then you formulate a strategy to translate it into action. This is how the whole process works, starting from, triggering a thought and then going right up to manifestation. Now, we also link it with matra spars. We discussed that issue earlier. Matra spars means that some outside thing touches your sense organs. Matra is your sense organs, which is the measurement you take, and spars is the touching. For example, some beautiful jewelry touches your eyes, sense organs, and then you are provoked. So that is another form. The provocation through the matra spars. The provocation by somebody else abuses you, that's another provocation. Somebody praises you, another provocation. Somebody puts a demand before you, that's another provocation. So these are the various things which provoke our action. The actions are not coming out on our own most of the time, 99%. They're coming by these provocations. So this is what we need to understand, that matra spars also has a very important role here. And of course, the other people have important role in the actions we perform. That is why Krishna has said that कर्म की गति बहुत गहन है, इसको समझना बहुत जरूरी है. And therefore, we need to spend little time on this. And in fact, he also has said that योग कर्मसु कौशलम. अगर आप कर्म का कौशल जानते हैं तो वो आप योगी हो गए. How to do an act, if you understand that, तो आप योगी हो गए. That is what he has said. So this is one of the great, I would say, discourse on karma which Krishna has given in this chapter and also in chapter number 3. Now let's go to the verse number 18, which is actually the crux. It's not easy to understand. जो मनुष्य कर्म में अकर्म देखता है और अकर्म में कर्म देखता है, वह मनुष्यों में बुद्धिमान है, वह योगी समस्त कर्मों का करने वाला है. Now, how do we understand this? I also feel very perplexed by this verse because this is a paradoxical situation. कर्म में अकर्म देखता है, अकर्म में कर्म देखता है. If somebody asks you the sky is blue and you say no, it is not blue, it is red, then they will say, oh, he's a fool. He doesn't know the sky is blue or not. But maybe you have a reason why it is red. And that is what we have to go in the spiritual thoughts. We have to go beyond appearances. We have to transcend the appearances. We have to transcend the what we call, the manifest world. And this is why in spirituality, there's a lot of use of paradoxical language. Paradoxical language is an inevitable part of spiritual discourses. For example, even Krishna will say in Bhagavad Gita and in Upanishads it has been said that the Almighty is smaller than the smallest and bigger than the biggest. Now, how do you reconcile this contradiction? This is a paradox. You cannot understand it. He'll say he's the lighter of the lightest, suksham se suksham, और बृहद से बृहद, बड़े से बड़ा, और वेट्स बहुत वेट्स वाला है, उससे ज्यादा वेट, एंड कम से कम, हल्के से हल्का. Now these are languages which have been used to explain spiritual thought because the reason is very clear. In the manifest world, we are living in duality. Like we were talking about birthday and death. This is a duality. That is what the manifest world tells us, that you are born and you die. But the spirituality tells you that you are never born, you never die. You are always there, you are eternal. Now that is not easy to reconcile for human being. And that is where the spiritual thoughts help us in transcending these dualities. Now to understand कि जो कर्म में अकर्म देखता है और अकर्म में कर्म देखता है, how do you transcend that? How do you understand that? It's not easy to understand it. Now let me go a little bit deeper into this to make it clear. कर्म में अकर्म देखता है. You see, the karma is performed by our body-mind complex. Body-mind complex does everything which we do. But we are not body-mind complex. We are consciousness behind that body-mind complex. The body-mind complex operates because of that consciousness. Like Kena Upanishad says that the mind cannot do manan, cannot reach anywhere because it has no power of its own. It is doing whatever is doing because there is a mind behind the mind. That is that consciousness. आप कानों से नहीं सुन रहे हैं, कानों के पीछे देवा सुनने वाला है, वो आपको सुनाता है. आंखों के पीछे एक दिखाने वाला है जो दिखाता है आपको, आंखों से नहीं देखता. जैसे dead person, can he see? He cannot see, he cannot hear, he cannot, think because that दिखाने वाला निकल गया. So here the deeper meaning is that the कर्म जो आप कर रहे हैं वो बॉडी माइंड कॉम्प्लेक्स से कर रहे हैं. आप उनसे अलग हैं, आप कॉन्शियसनेस हैं, आप उन कर्मों के दृष्टा हैं, आप उनको देख रहे हैं. It is also a subject-object issue. For example, if you can see something, then obviously you are not that. If I can see Rajesh, I cannot be Rajesh because Rajesh is an object. I can see him. I am different than Rajesh. If I can see my hand, I am not hand. Hand is different than me. So the subject and object are different. If you can see something, if you can hear something, if you can smell something, it means that is object and that is different from you. You cannot be that part. Similarly, the karma you are able to see what you are doing. You are doing it with your body mind complex. And therefore, you should feel that you are not doing it. कर्म में अकर्म देखिए, आप तो दृष्टा हैं, उसके पीछे बैठे हुए हैं. ये बॉडी माइंड कॉम्प्लेक्स कर रहा है जो भी कुछ कर रहा है. एंड देयरफॉर आप उस अकर्म को देखिए उस कर्म में कि आप कुछ नहीं कर रहे हैं, आप दृष्टा देखें. सो दिस इज द रियल deep meaning of this phrase, because in spirituality this language of paradox, the language which appears contradictory, is extremely essential to overcome the duality. And that once we are able to overcome the duality, then we reach the spiritual path, not in the duality, not in the happiness and distress or death and birth and what we call day and night and light and darkness. These are all dualities. We have to transcend beyond that. That is what spirituality tells us. And this is the meaning here, कि मनुष्य कर्म में अकर्म को देखे, कि मेरी consciousness is not doing anything, I am a drashta, my body mind complex is doing it. Then you are looking at yourself, you are अकर्म, आप करता नहीं है उसमें, करता है body mind complex. That is how we have to distinguish between the two. जो अकर्म में कर्म को देखे, now उसको कैसे समझे? How do we understand that? अकर्म में, अकर्म means you are not doing anything, you are sitting or you are relaxing, but there also you are doing, because that relaxation, that sitting, not picking up the call, or just that means you are also doing that particular activity. That is what you have to see there, that you are not a कर्म. वो तो कृष्ण ने पहले बता दिया चैप्टर 3 में कि क्षण मात्र भी मनुष्य बिना कर्म के नहीं रह सकता. तो कर्म तो आप कर ही रहे हैं, चाहे आप सो रहे हैं तो भी कर्म कर रहे हैं, आप ड्रीम स्टेट में भी कर्म कर रहे हैं, डीप स्लीप में भी आप कर्म कर रहे हैं, आप बैठे हुए हैं कुर्सी पे तो भी कर्म कर रहे हैं. तो कर्म तो आप कर ही रहे हैं, बिना कर्म के तो आप रह ही नहीं सकते. तो इसलिए उस अकर्म में, जिसमें आलस्य से आप सो रहे हैं या बैठे हुए हैं, उसमें भी आप ये देखें कि एक्चुअली आप कर रहे हैं, ये जो हो रहा है वो आप कर रहे हैं, इसकी वजह से हो रहा है, तो उसमें भी आप कर्म देखें. सो दिस इज द मीनिंग, डीपर मीनिंग ऑफ दिस वर्स. If we can understand this meaning, then we will be able to distinguish between consciousness and body mind complex. And then we will feel that consciousness does nothing. वो तो हमेशा यह करता है. Consciousness is not doing anything. It's like electricity in an equipment. Electricity does not do anything. Its very presence makes things happen. When you connect refrigerator to electricity, electricity doesn't do anything. It just, the flow remains as it was, but the equipment start working. You connect your laptop with electricity, it starts working, but electricity doesn't do anything at all. Its presence itself makes things happen. Similarly, the presence of consciousness makes this body mind complex work, and that body mind complex is all the time in motion and doing something. We are constantly in motion. That is the function of mind. Mind is constantly moving and moving and moving. I think that question will also come further down. So the body mind complex is provoked to do certain things because of variety of factors. One, provoked by others. Second, provoked by matra spars, when the outside things. Next, provoked by our own thinking process, own desires, own expectations. Then it could be provoked by something else as well. But basically, we should feel that this is being done by the body mind complex, and I am only a drashta, I am only a seer, I am just seeing it. That's it. I am just seeing it. I am not doing it. That is what Krishna says, that जो कर्म में अकर्म को देखे और जो अकर्म आदमी कर रहा है आलस्य की वजह से बैठा हुआ है, कुछ नहीं करना चाहता, दैट इज बेसिकली तामसी प्रकृति. तामसी प्रकृति का आदमी वैसा होता है, एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट तामसी प्रकृति ही इज नॉट डूइंग एनीथिंग, बट देयर ही शुड सी दैट नॉट डूइंग इज ऑल्सो डूइंग, एंड देयरफॉर उसमें उसको कर्म को देखे. So this is the real meaning of this verse. So I think we should distinguish between karm and akarm both. And there was also a word earlier we saw, niskarm, that you reach a stage of niskriyata. Once you are able to overcome both these two, then you reach a stage of niskriyata, that you are not impacted by karm or akarm. You just stay stable. That is, absolutely what you call a stage which is absolutely stabilized state of mind, where you are not fluctuating anywhere here and there. So this is what Krishna says, that if we can understand this meaning of karma and akarma, then I think we can reach a correct decision and we are eligible to attain moksha. Now that is वह योगी है और समस्त कर्मों का करने वाला है. Now that is what he says at the end, कि उसको और कुछ करना नहीं, युक्त है, सयुक्त है. सयुक्त means he is completely filled with the Almighty. युक्त means basically जैसे आप मिल्क के अंदर शुगर डाल देते हैं. नाउ मिल्क जो शुगर है वो युक्त हो गई, बिल्कुल मिल गई उसके अंदर, आप उसको अलग नहीं कर सकते. तो एग्जैक्टली वही सिचुएशन युक्त वाला हो जाता है कि आप परमात्मा में मिल जाते हैं उसमें. जैसे आप दूध के अंदर मक्खन युक्त रहता है, उसको निकालने के लिए आपको बहुत कुछ करना पड़ता है, दूध को हटाना पड़ता है, कुछ और करना पड़ता है, तो वो युक्त होता है. उस तरह की युक्त चीज जो है उसको योगी कृष्ण ने कहा है कि यू बिकम पार्ट ऑफ दैट ऑलमाइटी, यू बिकम युक्त. So now let's go to verse number 19. जिसके संपूर्ण शास्त्र सम्मत कर्म बिना कामना और संकल्प के होते हैं, जिसके समस्त कर्म ज्ञान रूप अग्नि के द्वारा भस्म हो गए हैं, उस महापुरुष को ज्ञानी जन भी पंडित कहते हैं. Now this is much more clearer here compared to verse number 18, which is a very complex verse but very profound verse. सर्वे समारंभा, यस्य सर्वे समारंभा, मतलब बिना किसी कामना के और बिना किसी संकल्प के आप काम करते हैं. You are not provoked by anybody. Now this is a fundamental question where Western people will not agree कि आप कर्म कर सकते हैं बिना कामना के. बिना कामना के कर्म संभव नहीं है. That is what Western people will tell you. But the Indian sages have experimented and they have come to the conclusion that you can do karma without any desire. And in fact, if you can do karma without any desire, the outcome of your karma will be fantastic. It would be fantastic. For example, it's like playing in a theater. Somebody is playing the role of Raja Harishchandra in a theater. Now, if you have desire to become Raja Harishchandra, you can never play a good role. But if you just play that role in a theater, and after the theater is over, you are back in your own form, and you see that role. Like somebody acts in a film, and after acting is finished, he comes into the theater and watches his own film. So he is watching his own acting, and he will admire, say, "Oh, how beautifully I acted." Exactly, this is the situation when you do karma without desire. When you are doing the karma without kamna, without any desire, then you will attain perfection there. But if you have a desire to become Raja Harishchandra, you can never attain that perfection in that theater. It's not possible. So this is how you should, or each one of us should look at the life, that this is a theater. I've come here to perform. I'm not the performer. My body mind complex is the performer. The body mind complex is provoked by many things to perform. And I perform that, whatever is to be done. I am the drashta. I am just watching it. I can watch all my karmas. We watch our karma. I get angry sometimes and then I watch, oh, I was angry. You are able to watch. It means it's an object. So it's not you. You are different than the angry person that time. You can, imagine that later on. Oh, there's a, at, at that particular moment, you become completely integrated with that anger. But afterwards, when you come to your senses, then you realize, oh, that was a different person altogether. Some people, utter all kinds of abuses when they are angry. And once they are back in their senses, they'll say, no, no, I never said that. Because they did not know what they said, what they did that time. So that was complete integration with anger. That we can distinguish, we can avoid if we realize that I am here to perform in a theater. I am compelled to perform because of the body mind complex, which was provoked by so many things. But I'm not doing anything. I'm not karta. I'm watching my body mind complex. So spend a few hours one day when you are relaxed. Just watch your body mind complex, how it is acting, how it is performing. Keep yourself a little away. Keep a distance between body mind complex. See, oh, you are eating, your stomach is hungry, therefore, you are feeding your stomach. Oh, you are feeling thirsty because there's thirst in your body, so you are feeding water to your body. Oh, your legs want, some exercise, so you are making them walk. So if you do this exercise once a while, that your body mind complex is different from you, then I think we can understand this very well. This verse कि बिना कामना और संकल्प के आप सारे कर्म करें और ज्ञान रूप अग्नि से भस्म. This is the Gyan Roop Agni that we are discussing. Gyan Roop Agni means the distinction between the self and the body mind complex. That is clear only when you have acquired that knowledge. And that is why we try to acquire knowledge. Acquire knowledge through ancient writings, Shastras, or from the people who have that experience, or from other sources. We try to acquire knowledge. That is the Gyan Roop Agni. Once Agni is a purifier, Agni is one which is always purifies. You put anything in fire, it will come to its real state. They say सोने का सुहागक बन जाता है. When you put dirty or mixed gold, even that can be melted and the pure gold will come out of it and the impurities will go away. So this is what the Agni does. Agni tells you or gives you the sharpness to distinguish between the right and the wrong. And that distinction, if we have between कर्म and अकर्म, कर्म में जो अकर्म देखता है और अकर्म में जो कर्म देखता है, if we can understand that, that is possible through ज्ञान रूप अग्नि. And then उस महापुरुष को ज्ञानी जन भी पंडित कहते हैं. So that guy is really a knowledgeable, wise person, full of wisdom, and that is what Krishna is saying. That once we get the distinction between the two, then we can reach that state. Next verse, verse number 20. जो पुरुष समस्त कर्मों में और उनके फल में आसक्ति का सर्वथा त्याग करके संसार के आश्रय से रहित हो गया है, संसार के आश्रय से रहित हो गया है और परमात्मा में नित्य तृप्त है, वह कर्मों में भली भांति बरतता हुआ वास्तव में कुछ भी नहीं करता. नाउ we are all the time attached with the world, with the physical objects outside. We are trying to get happiness from the physical objects, from a bigger house, from a bigger car, by taking journeys here and there, through going for travels, or having children, or sending your children to good schools, and then sending that your children get good jobs. So we are trying to get happiness from all these things. This is the normal process in life. कि मेरे बच्चे आगे बढ़ें, मेरे बच्चों का स्वास्थ्य ठीक रहे, मेरी पत्नी की हेल्थ ठीक रहे, मेरे स्पाउस मेरा ध्यान रखे. All these things are, or even the physical world. For example, you go and look for happiness in mountains, or you go and look for happiness in America, or in Europe, or in Paris, or in London. You are traveling there because you are looking for happiness there. So we are trying to find happiness in outside objects. संसार के आश्रय से रहित, उस आश्रय से रहित हो जाओ. Once you are able to get out of that process of finding happiness in the outside world, once you are able to come out of that process, then you will be Atma se Atma mein trapt. That is what he has said earlier, that you have become absolutely satisfied within your own self. You are not looking for anything. कुछ मिल जाए तो ठीक है, नहीं मिले तो कोई बात नहीं. That is how the life becomes afterwards. So he is saying that त्यक्त्वा त्यक्त्वा कर्म फला संगम, मतलब जो फलों के जो कर्म के फलों के साथ जो जुड़ा हुआ है हैप्पीनेस, उसको त्याग दिया आपने, उसको छोड़ दिया, उससे आसक्ति से अलग हो गए, उसमें बिल्कुल आपका निर्लेप हो गए, लेप खत्म हो गया उनसे. Then you come close to the Almighty. Because on the one side you have the physical world, on the other hand you have non-visible, non-tangible, non-sensible Almighty. So these are two contradictory things. If you remain involved in the physical world, and if you are trying to looking for happiness there, then you are far away from the intangible, insensible, unintelligible, the Almighty. And once you are in that unintelligible and insensible and intangible Almighty, then you will leave aside all the so-called pleasures of life, and you will attain a new pleasure which will be far, far more than the pleasures of physical comfort. So this is what he's saying, कि जो पुरुष समस्त कर्मों में और उनके फल से आसक्ति का सर्वथा त्याग कर देता है, फलों में उनके जो उनका रिजल्ट होता है उसमें कोई आसक्ति नहीं, उसको छोड़ देता है, और संसार का आश्रय ही छोड़ देता है. मिलता है ठीक है, नहीं मिलता नहीं. Here I am not talking about the body needs, but you are separate from body. So you are watching कि okay, body is needing water and food and certain essentials, वो आप body को feed कर रहे हैं, but you are not involved in that. You are just a drashta, you are only a seer. You are seeing it. That's it. And that is how the distinction should happen. Once you are getting out of that, वहां से आप निर्लिप्त हो गए, then automatically you are युक्त with परमात्मा. वहां से निर्लेप हो गए और परमात्मा से युक्त हो गए. And then there is nothing else you need to do. ऐसा आदमी सब कुछ करता हुआ भी कुछ नहीं करता. That is the life of Krishna himself. He has done everything in life, but he did nothing because he was completely nirlep and anasakt. Now we'll take one more verse today. Maybe up to 23, I think we'll finish today. जिसका अंतःकरण और इंद्रियों के सहित शरीर जीता हुआ है और जिसने समस्त भोगों की सामग्री का परित्याग कर दिया है, ऐसा आशा रहित पुरुष केवल शरीर संबंधी कर्म को करता हुआ पापों को नहीं प्राप्त होता. शरीर संबंधी कर्म, जो शरीर की आवश्यकताएं हैं वो आप कंप्लीट करिए और बाकी डिजायर्स को आप छोड़ दीजिए. जिसका अंतःकरण इंद्रियों सहित जीता हुआ है. इंद्रियां और अंतःकरण, अंतःकरण के 3 हिस्से होते हैं, मन, बुद्धि और अहंकार. दैट इज पार्ट ऑफ अंतःकरण. Some people even say chit, that is the upper part of your consciousness. So man, buddhi, ahankar and chit, ये अंतःकरण के हिस्से हैं. And इंद्रियां, we have 5 senses. So उन इंद्रियों के सहित, इंद्रियां तो बिल्कुल मैटर हैं. उनके ऊपर प्रशासन करता है आपका मन. So मन के ऊपर प्रशासन करता है आपकी बुद्धि. That is what we saw, verse number 42 in chapter 3. और मन के ऊपर प्रशासन करता है आपकी बुद्धि, और बुद्धि के ऊपर प्रशासन करता है अहंकार, और अहंकार के ऊपर प्रशासन करता है आपकी आत्मा. तो ये जो लेयर्स हैं, इन लेयर्स को समझते हुए आप अहंकार, मन, बुद्धि और इंद्रियों, इन सब के ऊपर आप अपनी आत्मा का कंट्रोल एस्टैब्लिश कर देंगे. देन यू आर कंप्लीटली फ्री. देन यू आर नॉट डूइंग एनीथिंग. कोई पाप नहीं करेंगे, आप अपना शरीर के संबंधित कर्म करेंगे. नाउ दिस वर्ड पाप ऑल्सो शुड बी अंडरस्टूड हियर लिटिल बिट. पाप, normally we associate पाप with like somebody does a murder, or somebody does a theft, or somebody does a rape, or somebody does, some other, what you call financial scandal, or some sort of coercion somewhere. So we associate pap with that. But pap actually has a much larger meaning. Pap, in the sense it has been used in Indian Shastras, has a very, very, what you call, vast meaning. The meaning of pap is that anything which you do to derive happiness from the worldly objects, that is all pap. Worldly objects से जितना भी आप satisfaction derive, happiness derive करने की कोशिश करते हैं, that is all in the category of pap. And that is a very comprehensive definition of pap, that you are, once you are away from the worldly objects, then you are away from pap, then you are not doing anything. And that is the sense in which it has been used here as well, that you are only doing the essential activities which are required for maintaining your body and mind complex. That is what you are doing. Body related activities, that you have to feed your body, you have to provide water, you have to provide some shelter to the body, you have to use some clothing for protecting it from nature. So this is what you are doing. But all other desires you have abandoned, you have taken rid of those through the process of your, what you call, antekaran. So once you have established control your senses through your antekaran, and only desires you have, these are not really desires, only needs you have, and those are the body needs which you perform, तो आप पाप से मुक्त हो गए, बिकॉज यू आर अवे फ्रॉम ऑल द what you call tanmatra of sense objects, all the objects which provide you satisfaction to your senses. So once you are away from that, then this is पाप मुक्ति. तो पाप मुक्ति जब तक खत्म नहीं होती जब तक आप इंद्रियों से संसार में सुख देखने की कोशिश करते रहते हैं, तब तक हम पाप करते रहते हैं किसी न किसी रूप में, और उस पाप का परिणाम हमें मिलता रहता है, दुख और सुख जो भी है वो मिलता रहता है. बिकॉज हम सुख ढूंढते हैं, सुख मिलता है थोड़ी देर के लिए, फिर वापस वो दुख में कन्वर्ट हो जाता है. You buy a beautiful garment today, you are very happy. After a few hours, once you have used it once or twice, you get fed up with it and you again reach a state of distress. Then you again desire something new. So that is a process we continue to remain. Once we realize the futility of that process, then we are free from paap. Now verse number 22. जो बिना इच्छा के अपने आप प्राप्त हुए पदार्थों में सदा संतुष्ट रहता है. ना बिना इच्छा के अपने आप प्राप्त हुए, जो मिल गया उसमें संतुष्टि, मिल गया ठीक है, नहीं मिला कोई बात नहीं. जिसमें ईर्ष्या का सर्वथा अभाव हो गया, मतलब दूसरे को क्या मिल रहा है उससे आपको जलन हो, वो नहीं. उसको जो मिल रहा है वो मिल रहा है, आपको जो मिल रहा है. यू आर हैप्पी विद व्हाट यू आर गेनिंग. देयर इज नो कंपैरिजन, बट मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम वी कंपेयर. Oh, he has a bigger house, he has a better car, he has a more beautiful spouse. All those things we keep comparing all the time. Oh, that guy is a better player, that guy is a wealthy guy, oh, he is very powerful. So that is the problem. We are not happy with what we are. We are trying to compare ourselves with others, which is leading to ईर्ष्या and causing problems within ourselves. So ईर्ष्या का सर्वथा अभाव, that is possible only when we stop comparisons and we are happy with what we have. जो हर्ष शोक आदि द्वंद्वों में सर्वथा अतीत हो गया है. सम सिद्धा व असिद्धो, सिद्ध और असिद्ध में आप बिल्कुल सम हैं. ये समता वाला जो क्वेश्चन है ना, समभाव, दिस इज रिपीटेड मेनी टाइम्स बाय कृष्ण, that you have to reach the sambhav, away from the dvand, away from the dualities. The dualities should be set aside and we reach what we call equanimity. So उन द्वंद्वों से सदा अतीत, ऐसा सिद्धि और असिद्धि में सम रहने वाला कर्म योगी कर्म करता हुआ उनसे बनता नहीं. Again he is saying that don't be carried away by the pleasures and pains. You remain equanimous and maintain your equanimity all the time. Then you are yogi. You don't have to do anything. But most of the time we are either happy or unhappy out of the outcome of our karma or out of the outcome of our providence, as we call it, and we become happy and unhappy constantly. That is the process we pass through, many times, hundreds of times in a day. Every single day we pass through that process. So once we transcend that that duality, once we transcend that dvand, then we are able to stabilize ourselves, and then we will be happy within ourselves all the time. That is what Krishna is saying, and that is possible when you stop comparison with others, when you don't have any ईर्ष्या भाव, जलन की इच्छा नहीं होती, जो मिल गया उसमें संतुष्टि है, नहीं मिला. I think that is where you can be happy constantly. तो ऐसा कर्म योगी कर्मों से बंधन से नहीं बनता. तो ये इस जो कर्म में अकर्म देखता है, कर्म में कर्म देखता है, this is the further explanation of that verse number 18. He is expanding it further, that बिना कामना के करो, बिना संकल्प के करो, ज्ञान रूप अग्नि से उसको समझो, और आसक्ति का सर्वथा अभाव हो, अपनी इंद्रियों के ऊपर कंट्रोल हो, अपने अंतःकरण के ऊपर कंट्रोल हो, देन आपकी पापों से मुक्ति हो जाएगी और जब आप कंपैरिजन नहीं करोगे तो आपको ईर्ष्या नहीं होगी, आपको जलन नहीं होगी, आप संभाव रहेंगे, ड्युअलिटी से ऊपर उठ जाएंगे, द्वंद्वों से ऊपर उठ जाएंगे। द्वंद्वोतीत, द वर्ड हियर इज द्वंद्वातीतो. Dvandvatito means beyond. I think Mahavir has used this word vitrag, that you go beyond rag. Here he has used word dvandatit, that द्वंद्वों से ऊपर चले गए, राग से ऊपर चले गए. Vairagya and rag, they are also actually what you call synonym and antonym, but you go beyond the duality of vairagya and rag, that is called dvandatit. Now verse number 23. जिसकी आसक्ति सर्वथा नष्ट हो गई है. आसक्ति सर्वथा, आसक्ति और राग, दे आर क्लोजली correlated. Rag is the interest you develop because of some incentive you get. And then because of that rag you develop asakti, then you get attached to it. And when, for example, I tell you this little story with myself. I wanted to buy a watch. Now, people tell you buy this brand, that brand, this brand, and then you buy a watch and you spend, comparatively higher amount of money. Then you feel that you are getting something good out of it, because it becomes a case of to show others that you have a higher watch, you have a bigger watch, that you can show that you are wealthy and you are well to do. So that object of that watch is not a timepiece. It's an object to demonstrate your, inner ego. So that becomes an instrument of ego. And that is, in that ego, then you develop sort of, attachment. Oh, this watch is very important for me. So once you lose that watch, you become very unhappy. If somebody takes that watch away, thief takes it away, you will be terribly upset, because you have developed an attachment with the watch, because that watch was an instrument of demonstration of your ego. So this is how it happens in life. And the same thing can happen with a car. Some people don't buy a car because they need it. They buy it to demonstrate to the others that I can show that this is a rich guy, this is my ego, and satisfies me. Some people drive, the bigger car on the road just to show that that they are rich people. They want to demonstrate their ego to the others, and then they develop that attachment, because that demonstration brings attachment, and that happens to us every time. जो फकीर लोग होते हैं उनके कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, whether they are sitting in a Mercedes or whether sitting in on a two-wheeler, doesn't matter for them. They are fine everywhere. So I think we have to reach that stage, because ultimately at the time of death we are all put on the same footing. We are all reduced to the ashes. We are all reduced to the soil. That's what happens. So आसक्ति सर्वथा नष्ट. आसक्ति जब भी नष्ट होगी जब आपका अटैचमेंट उससे, उस इंस्ट्रूमेंट को यूज करने का अटैचमेंट खत्म हो जाएगा, बिकॉज यू आर यूजिंग इट नॉट एज इंस्ट्रूमेंट बट टू डेमोन्स्ट्रेट समथिंग एल्स डीपर इनसाइड यू. जो देहाभिमान और ममता से रहित हो गया है, जिसको देह, अपने शरीर का भी कोई अभिमान नहीं है, दैट ही इज नॉट, ही इज ब्यूटीफुल और ही इज हैंडसम और ही इज young and he's energetic, all that is gone. और किसी चीज से उसको ममता नहीं रह गई है, किसी चीज से उसका अटैचमेंट नहीं रह गया. ममता एंड अटैचमेंट आर क्वाइट क्लोज टू ईच अदर. और जिसका चित्त निरंतर परमात्मा के ज्ञान में स्थित रहता है. नाउ चित्त निरंतर, that is possible only when you are attached to the Almighty. And that attachment is possible only when you are detached from the world, detached from the physical world. So once you are detached from the physical world, you will automatically get connected to the Almighty, and that will resolve all these issues. ऐसा केवल यज्ञ संपादन के लिए कर्म करने वाला मनुष्य संपूर्ण कर्म भली भांति विलीन हो जाते हैं. यज्ञ संपादन के लिए, Now, this is the same word which he used in chapter 3. Karmo ko yajna bana lo. That you are doing this karma because you have been put into this universe to perform a certain action to make this universe run, and you are performing that activity. Like sun has been put into this universe to give you heat, to run the water cycle here, to give you pranic energy in the body. Similarly, we have also been brought into this universe to do certain activities, and we are performing those activities. Yajna. So whatever we are doing, it's just a contribution to the smooth running of the universe. I'm not doing anything else. That is what it is. And I'm propelled to do that because that is what has been prescribed by nature for me. So this is how we should look at our life, our activities, our actions. Then we can understand कर्म में अकर्म और अकर्म में कर्म, तभी हम उसको समझ सकते हैं. But these are all linked with our entire psychosystem. The entire psychosystem starts that, you know, either you are provoked by somebody else to do an activity, or provoked by your sense organs because of matra spars, or provoked by your own desires to do certain activities, and then you are doing those activities. Those are all activities which are with kamna, which are driven by certain desires, which are with expectations. These are all actually karma for which you will have to take the consequences. But if you can get out of that process and be happy with yourself, whatever is coming to you, you accept it. Not coming to you, don't accept it. You become drashta. Body mind complex is performing its activities because it has its own mechanism to perform. So you perform through the body mind complex and you become drashta. You are not karta, therefore you are not bhokta. If you are not karta, you are not bhokta. If you are karta, you are bhokta. Very clear. So I think I will end here. This is a very profound lesson to understand what is karma, what is a karma, and how we can get out of the consequences of our own karma. That is possible only when we are detached completely. We are doing actions which are not provoked by anything, but on our own, just to fulfill the basic needs of the body. And that is what Krishna is saying, that as long as you are driven by desires, propelled by others or propelled by your sense organs or your mind, then you will remain in this world and you will have to take the consequences. So thank you very much.